Welcome to the NextLife Podcast, where we explore the journeys of entrepreneurs, industry experts, and interesting people to get some advice and inspiration for your business, your life, and help you plan your exit, be that a career, a business, or whatever your next life may be. Okay, welcome everyone. We have a little bit of a diversion today from our normal NextLife content business, value building, exit sell. We're diverting a little bit to something more fun and something we all do in this life and next life is eat. And one of the best foods of Texas and that it's known for and we all eat a lot of is barbecue. My guest today is Sloan Rinaldi. Am I pronouncing that? Rinaldi, I'm sorry.
There you go. That's quite
Sloan
all right.
Rinaldi. She is a celebrity barbecue pitmaster chef, owner of Texas Q. She has numerous celebrity appearances, most recently the Netflix series Barbecue Showdown, where she was a fan favorite and a finalist, and a whole lot of other media appearances. I know Chopped,
Yes,
Chopped,
yeah.
Texas Monthly. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot. Yeah. But this lady's not only a pitmaster and successful business owner, but she makes some really good barbecue that I can attest to, that you'll want to eat.
Yes, you can attest to it.
So welcome and thanks for being here.
No, thank you for having me, Gary. What a wonderful opportunity to come in and talk with you.
Yeah. We're going to get into some fun stuff of barbecue. And I know you're so passionate about it, which is always so
Well, one
good.
thing I wanted to correct right off, you said that it was a food that's popular or something like that in Texas, or a food that we like in Texas. No, it's the state food of Texas.
Yeah, I would put that right up there with Mexican food.
Okay,
Mexican,
Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
because I do say fajitas are kind of like
it's interesting you say
know?
that. When I had my oil field company, people would come from other parts of the world, and immediately that's what they would say, Sloan. They would go, well, we're going to go to lunch. Well, where do y'all eat your barbecue?
Yeah.
It's
one of two things. It's going to be barbecue or Tex-Mex.
And I would tell them, I said, well, we're going to take you to two places. One day we're going to go barbecue.
It's Tex-Mex. I hope you stay short. No, actually, we are the culinary capital of the world now, pretty much. We are the most diverse city in the nation is Houston. And that's really, so you can only imagine if we are that culturally diverse, how diverse our culinary scene is.
Well, I said the food scene is so good in
Oh, my God.
Too.
Yeah, it is.
And then you travel, you really know how good the
No,
food
it is.
is.
I can't imagine any other state right now that has, what Houston has.
Right.
Other than LA and then, New York City. But even then, we have surpassed both. And
people, when I was traveling, I remember to Pittsburgh, they were like, you got to try the steakhouse.
Yeah.
And I go there and I'm like, it's okay.
Come to Houston. We'll show you how it's really done, man.
But back to the barbecue. Yeah. What do you think that makes it such a favorite and the national food of Texas? What do you think that is?
It is innately part of our culture, our fabric. Okay, It's the soul of Texas food. It is the one, and I've said this many times now, is to me the only culinary cuisine that it brings everyone together. Okay. Actually, maybe crawfish a little bit, but that's very seasonal. But it's barbecue, so you can bring every person together, no matter how rich, how poor, put them at the same table, and that they're enjoying the same culinary experience.
Sure.
You don't get that anywhere else.
I hadn't thought about that.
No, you don't find that with anything else.
There's not like,
you can't
There's not a class of eating.
No class of eating. You can't take a poor guy and put him in a fine dining. It's not going to work. You can't pay for it and have the same experience.
But by the same token, a fine dining person,
no, he's not going to go into a dive.
Barbecue
but they're
and
looking
they know
for
how
barbecue.
they're supposed to eat it.
It's like a delicacy, and it has become pretty pricey at the same time, but it is a delicacy, to done right,
Well, and it's harder to do. I really appreciated watching the series with the brisket itself. Watching and it just reiterated why I always just buy briskets from you and I don't cook them. It's a hell of a lot easier.
There's some work in that deal, man.
It's a hell of a lot easier to do it that way.
And then sometimes I can see how those folks that do pellet or whatever, that it is a convenience. They're getting a semblance of smoke.
Well, that's me. I'm a lazy pellet
there's not a lot of guys that want to do
I'm a lazy pellet Traeger cooker.
No, a lot of people don't want to do the work. And that's where the passion comes from. So only people that are doing the work that I'm doing have an immense passion for it, or you're not doing it.
Yeah, well, because it's hard work.
It is backbreaking.
Oh my goodness!
Broke both hips.
I have seen you bust your ass. Not just like on the show, but I mean, you know, I've
Yeah.
bought a lot of brisket
You have
from
to.
you.
It
and
takes
you
a lot
said-
of work to be able to make yourself. You know, you can't just walk in the door and say, "Hey, I'm a great pitmaster." You know, there's a lot of work that goes behind that, and it is day in and day out, 114 degrees in a trailer or
smoking it, yeah.
just over a pit. It doesn't matter. It is hot or it's cold or it's a tropical storm. You know, you're doing it because you love it. Number one, you are constantly in the pursuit of excellence at what you do. And when you have someone tell you that anything that you cooked is the best of something that they've ever had,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ever hear that
that's
enough,
what
man.
any cook,
that drives you.
restaurateur,
Oh my God.
celebrity chef as you are,
An
wants to
artist,
hear.
anyone
True,
says, they say
true.
that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
You know,
well, that is your art. It's
that
food.
is truly. And, you know, my wife says that's how I express my love is through food, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's very much, food is
It's interesting
universal.
because that is a concept that's true. You know,
Yeah.
that people don't think of. It's a canvas.
It is.
You know, but the canvas can be anything. I always say a canvas is business is a canvas.
Yeah, and you can destroy it or you can make it incredibly beautiful. You know, absolutely, one or the other. It can be perfect or it can be garbage done wrong. You know,
Right.
It's like with a brisket. Just literally, you slice it the wrong way and it's inedible. You know, I have worked that brisket for 12 hours. If I were to just give it to you, that's why I always slice your brisket. You know, okay?
Yeah.
I want to make sure you get the most out of it. It has two different, you know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
Yeah, the
When I
muscle
come to
structure.
think
There's two
of
different
it-
muscles, okay? And they're going in different directions. So you don't know that. You're just looking at a whole
Not at
brisket,
all.
right?
Not
So
at
I
all.
have to separate it, all right? I turn the point where all the fat is, right? I turn it a quarter turn and I slice it the opposite direction. Then I do the flat. The flat.
See, those,
You know.
those are the sort of
But if
tips
I didn't
that-
let you do that, man, and you did it, if I didn't do it and you did it yourself, you wouldn't be able to eat it. And you'd be like, Sloan, this is bullshit. This is crap. You know, I couldn't eat it, man.
I mean, these are so many of
Yeah.
the things that I always say want so important to have passion in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could sit and say, I'm going to draw a diagram to do that, but until you've done that a gazillion
Yeah. And I
times-
tried drawing diagrams for people.
Have you really?
that insist on it being whole. So I would literally draw a picture, you know, and then tell them to turn the point, a quarter turn, and where to slice it from, and the half, you know, the flat.
Well, I remember even watching on the show how they would just do the flop on the briskets,
Yeah.
but you know that isn't always a fail safe.
No, and I'll be
either.
honest with you, this is what we can talk about honesty on the show, okay?
Yeah, I want to get into all that too.
And that brisket episode, I was not happy about.
Well,
Okay.
we'll get into all that here in
Okay,
a
for
second.
sure. Well, I
but-
want to be honest about that brisket
But
episode.
so, what else? So you know, your original. It may be worth starting.
yeah, we jumped in the middle, right?
Yeah, well, I don't mind that. I like to jump all over the place, up and down,
we jumped into
middle.
present is what
It
we
doesn't
did.
matter. We can
Yeah.
jump wherever we want. You know. You know, your original business was landscaping.
Commercial, large scale landscape and irrigation construction, and I think that I had the passion for landscape is equal to my passion for barbecue.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I was driven in that the same way to be able to plant a tree almost 40 years ago now. Yeah, 40 years ago now. Whether it be in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta. And to be able to go back and see that same tree 40 years later is an incredible feeling. And see how the landscape grew in. I have a great affinity for trees, rocks, the earth. It's like in my soul.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
picking the right wood and all
Yeah,
that. So,
absolutely.
So I guess the question is, how did you make that jump, and what?
Yeah, right.
From landscaping to barbecue, did you just?
Well, it's
did
not
it just
that it was-
appear to you one day because
Well,
you're
you-
obviously so passionate about both, but particularly barbecue.
Well, it's kind of a convoluted story in that on one hand, I'm a fourth generation pitmaster, but I'm a fourth generation pitmaster that never smoked anything until 2013.
Okay.
So from 1982 until 2013, I was in landscape construction.
Okay.
The last 20 years of that owning my own business.
Okay.
I think that when in 2013, I sold off the business to a young man that had worked for me. His mother actually is the woman that worked for me and ran the cruise.
Okay.
Sold it off to her son, who had been my irrigator for a long time. So parted ways
Got
with
out
that. Yeah, got out of that. My mom had just died. I was going through a hard time, bottom line. Okay. And I had a light bulb moment. I just was watching a show that so many people started barbecuing from. You know, they did. There were so many competition guys that were driven by the show. But it's called Barbecue Pitmasters. And there was two things that were very apparent to me. Number one, it was male dominated.
Okay.
I thrive on that. I like being the only woman.
Challenges.
Yeah. I was the only woman doing large scale commercial construction in Texas and one of the only few in the country, you know. So I pride myself on that and being the best at whatever I do. So immediately I know that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to have to be the best. I have to be the best. I can't rest.
I know that about you. You're all
cannot rest without it. So that's what drives me. So then the light bulb moment, I see that pit and I look around and there's one woman, Melissa Cookston, the winningest woman in barbecue.
Okay.
Full circle moment when we talk about the series later. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to remind me to come back.
Yeah, no,
to that.
we're going to come back.
Cookston.
We're going to come back because I know the audience wants to hear about this series.
So
I think it's pretty cool.
I decided I have a pit built. So in the meantime, I run to HEB, pick up an offset, put it in the backyard.
Literally just went down to I bought
HEB.
a pit. I'm going to figure this out.
Put it in the back of my truck, took it home, and I'm going to figure this out. But God bless me. He said, I'm going to give you the ability to create amazing fire. Okay. You're going to look at it. You're going to be able to tell exactly how many sticks you need to put on that fire for it to last another hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. You'll be able to see it and feel it. Okay. The sound, the feel of the fire, all of it. You'll just know it. It'll be in your heart and soul. Boom. Gift from God. There it is. So first brisket I ever done. Never done a brisket. Nailed it the first time.
You went and bought the
Yeah, I knew the wood profile that I wanted.
Okay.
I knew I wanted pecan. I had smoked turkeys and a few ribs in my life, and I had used mesquite. Okay, I was from my stepfather from Louisiana. That's what he used, so I thought I'd use that.
Okay.
I did not care for that. I did not want a wood that you could bite into the barbecue and know what wood you were using. Okay, I wanted a sultry smoke bath. Okay. So to me, it was East Texas pecan. Naturally, I love the aromatic.
Yeah. I like pecan coffee.
Oh my God, that was it. That was it. I love pecan coffee.
I'm a coffee connoisseur.
See,
by
me
the way.
too. I am somewhat as well.
I'm like a coffee.
I have to have my fresh beans.
I
grind them.
I buy beans that are fresh roasted.
You need to go to Lola then. Have you been down to Lola? I'm fixing to do a collaboration, not with Lola, but with another guy that's Spindle Tap Coffee, and they are doing some amazing roasting. Okay. And I'm finding out that they're getting their notes from the roasting process.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
It's like everything else.
Yeah.
Just like this, people think barbecue is just, man, it has
We're
so
gonna
many
do rubs and
idiosyncrasies.
sauces, coffee infused. We're gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
But in reference to this, so first brisket, I nailed it. I knew I wanted. I tried competition style. That was what I was watching. Competition style. It's just like you're throwing all kind of flavor profiles, and you're building like it could be a sugar cookie kind of,
You don't even know who the judges are in that situation.
No.
Probably makes a big difference.
No, not when you do a competition. You don't have any idea.
Because it might
just
be somebody don't even really know.
Like having wacky flavors come through there.
Are
right?
they? Okay.
And also they're used to being fat cap down. Okay. Well, to me that's like sacrilege. So I refused in the competitions that I did.
Fat cap up, right?
I do fat cap up only. So I would turn my brisket in that way, and they would just like throw it away. But I would win on ribs.
Okay.
First time I did a competition. Okay, so fast forward 3-4 months later, I enter my first competition. All right, after I get my pit, I had a pit built by East Texas Smoker Company in Tyler.
Okay.
They built all the pits for Truth Barbecue here in Houston, who's legendary, number 4 in the state, three in the state. And so I had my pit, got my pit 3 months later. That's January. Okay, and what was it called? Ronald McDonald's Bands, Brews, and Barbecue for the Ronald McDonald House. Okay, that was the deal. And they were doing competition, and then people paid $75 to $100. They came through and ate the competition food, and then you were judged. It's a pretty big event. Pits and Spits rolled in with their freaking party bus, margarita machine, and lights going all night. And I literally have a crew of women that helped me set up.
You got the HEB pit you just bought?
Now I've got my regular pit.
Okay,
it's there now. So I got a regular size pit. I practiced for several months. Entered the competition, and then the girls came out, set me up, and they left, man. So I'm just there by myself for the next 24, 48 hours, And those guys just eyeballed me all night, man. They didn't what the fuck?
Exactly.
So when they called my name for ribs, though,
what the hell?
When they called my name for ribs, man, my dad had showed up to surprise me, and I was a mess, man. I was just a mess. He drove in from San Antonio, and I had no idea, and he'd been talking to me leading up to it, never let me know he was going to be there. And so that was great. And so when they called my name, it was like one of the best moments ever. I think that you could win the first time you've ever done something. I think, well, maybe I am on to something. So then
you were kind of hooked. Then.
Well, yeah, I was hooked. I was hooked when I did the brisket, and it turned out.
Okay.
The first time.
Okay.
So from that competition, I was literally invited to the freaking state championship.
Right off the bat, you just drum right in, and you're
250 teams. Okay. I knew I wasn't going to win that.
Right.
250 teams. I came in 14th.
Nice.
I know.
Yeah, but for
5%, I'll take that.
And for starting out
No
4
doubt.
months before.
No,
Come on.
but it was very reassuring that I was on the right track.
Right.
And the team right next to me is like the biggest guy in Texas barbecue, Ernest Cervantes.
Okay.
He's opened up the number 4 joint in the state, and he ended up being my judge on Chopped.
Okay.
Very
cool.
well-known barbecue guy. So he didn't recognize me from that event, though.
Yeah.
When I did Food Network, he's like, "Who are you?"
Right.
It's like, whatever. So, but that experience, that was at Pasadena Fairgrounds, so it's massive experience.
So that got you launched.
But I also realized then that I did not want to do freaking competition style barbecue. Number one, it was fat cap down. I refused to do that. So I was never going to get anything other than rubs.
So they have rules in those competitions that'll say fat cap up, fat cap
no, they
down.
just trim all the fucking fat.
Oh, they just take it all off.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Oh, okay.
No. What is the point? What is the point? So they're injecting and doing all these weird flavor profiles and combinations, and it's not Texas barbecue. It's not Texas craft barbecue. That's when I heard the word.
And that's one of my questions. What the heck, and this is my naive question, what is a pitmaster? What does that mean when...
I say it's the pitmaster.
Is that a distinctive... But is that just a generic term?
No, you have to master every form of fire and every different type of pit that's wood related.
Is that something you go out and get a certification?
No,
or you're just
it is not.
You call yourself, and you better, if you call yourself that, your ass
you
better
back
be that.
It up. You better back it
Okay,
up,
it's
man.
like that. Okay.
You don't call yourself that lightly. And it's
Because
really...
I notice people will use it very distinctively.
It's really best to allow someone else to call you that. It's like from the cast of Barbecue Showdown. I said, the first person that calls himself a celebrity pitmaster, I can't be friends with you. It's okay if someone else refers to you that.
Okay.
But do not call yourself a celebrity pitmaster based on this freaking experience. Okay?
That's interesting.
We can't be friends.
So that's a little subtle.
Yeah. You have to prove your chops.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to prove your chops.
That's a subtle bar.
It was a while before I called myself a pitmaster.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. It was a long time. But that is what I do. I can master fire, period.
Right,
fire management is the key.
Well, to that point, too, I mean, I know rule number one in my house is just buy the brisket from you, but think about if it's the novice person out there trying to do, who has some passion. I mean, what is the key to, if you had to say, okay, I'm going to teach someone to cook a good brisket and I got an hour to teach them. I mean,
Actually, I sell a virtual class for that, Gary.
Yeah, well,
at TexasQ.com.
Yeah, well, that's actually how. Yeah. Well, and you don't have to do the whole class.
No,
now, but is there?
Yes.
Number one? Is it fire number one? Or
no, actually, number one, you want to start with the best beef you can get.
Best beef, okay.
Best beef. So you're looking for a flexible, well-aged, wet-aged. Okay, I prefer wet. I do not do dry. And I'm looking for, and with the best being Black Angus Prime.
Okay.
I prefer that even to Wagyu. Now, there are some Wagyu.
The Wagyu is, I hear that
it's overrated at times.
That's what I think of the
real
steaks.
Wagyu. Some become bastardized. And
when I've eaten the
crossbred.
steaks,
I tell you what's good, though, is a crossbred Angus and Wagyu. That's amazing. I have a friend that's raising that right now. That's some good beef. But it's the Angus beefiness that, to me, makes it supreme. So then it's marbling. Marbling, prime. Okay, the prime rating is based on the ribeye, unfortunately, from the cow. So a lot of times, although the brisket says prime, it doesn't have the marbling that you want. So you really need to look at it. You're looking at the sides of it. If you can see where it's being cut, you can see the fibers. And if it has marbling in it, that's what you're looking for. If it doesn't, and it's all red.
But you see, then some guy like me too, I kind of like lean, like.
Well, no, I get you. When I go weirdos like you, I know.
I know when I go up, so I guess that. But
that weirdo that comes up to me,
I say that, but then I buy the briskets from you, and they're fantastic.
I know.
And they do.
It's because of the fat content.
And they do have fat on them.
If it didn't, it would not be the same. It would never be as tender.
It wouldn't be as moist.
It would never be as tender. It would be drier for sure.
Yeah.
It could get to tender, but it's just not succulent.
It's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be succulent. And that's what I'm going for. In my barbecues, I want a succulent.
I've noticed that, like, you have it cut usually for me, but when I look at it, it's a different kind of marbling. But it's not. But I've had marbling where, like, you buy it at some crappy barbecue chain joint. The fat is it's just, you can't even hardly eat.
No, what has happened is it hasn't rendered properly.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so when you cut into a brisket and the fat still looks white, no, that's not rendered properly. It should be like a yellowish butter.
Okay.
Like a real light yellow butter.
That's probably why
And that's what we call it. It should go through like butter.
Probably why I always say lean, because if I'm not buying the brisket from you, then I'm buying some
it's not rendered right.
Yeah.
No, so you're not getting a good brisket, period. Anyway.
Okay, got it. Well, what about as it relates to the sauces and the rubs? Is Is that a flavor preference for people too? More dry rub than sauce, or is that just something?
In Texas,
Yeah.
you know, we always say sauce on the side. So sauce for me, I knew immediately I wanted to create incredible sauce to go with incredible barbecue, but it's optional and it's on the side, right? So I don't mop my brisket. That would prohibit a good bark formation. I may spritz once my bark is formed, and the only reason I'm doing that is to slow down or cool down the surface temp. Because my bark is formed, I don't want it to continue to burn. So I'm slowing down the surface temp. All right, cooling it down by spritzing while the interior continues to cook. So no mopping.
So the sauce is like,
There's
I almost
sauce
think
on
of it
it.
as dipping, but
Sauce
but
on the
it's
side.
very
You can like
critical.
put a little bit on there if
Yeah,
you
and
want,
it
you know,
tastes
but I'm not
wonderful,
pouring
like-
it on for you. No, not at all.
Well, and that to me goes
I don't even
back
glaze
to,
it. No.
Yeah, it goes back to good food. Just
Yeah.
it's like I hate places that take a good quality fish,
Yeah.
and then just sauce it all up. It's like you've just missed the whole point.
No, absolutely. That's one of the judges, said all throughout the competition was, sauce on the side. They want to be able to taste the quality of the meat or poultry,
That's why
whatever.
they did
Yeah.
it that way, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking to the shows, I want to get off into that a bit. You've had the appearances in the Netflix. I mean, how did you get on that show, or what made you interested to get on it, and how do you get on one of those shows?
Okay, so how do I say
Because you
this?
started with Chopped, which
Yes.
was these weren't small.
No, Food Network contacted me.
Right.
Right.
So
It started the moment I started doing barbecue. Okay, so I realized I'm good at it. I want to do Texas craft barbecue. Do not want to do competition. So what can I do? Saw a woman that was struggling with a cupcake business in New Caney on the corner of 1485. No, yeah, New Caney's 1485. And 494.
Okay.
And she was apparently though, Con caught her on a day that she was whining, and she thought that she needed some help. Like why not pop up and do barbecue there and bring in a crowd, and she'll sell more cupcakes, right?
Okay.
So, but as it turned out, it was just something that she regularly did was whine on Facebook. But it's okay.
That's another
it's
story.
Okay. That's another story.
story.
Totally. So anyway, we pop up, and obviously, yeah, we did incredible business. People waited 3 hours for freaking barbecue.
Okay.
Absolutely incredible. So we started doing that on Saturday and Sunday on the weekend. And I was like, okay, looks good. But she was a little nutty, so we moved on. But what it did was it got people out to critique me. Texas Monthly came out, and that sort of thing.
And they just found you.
Yeah.
So I guess that was where
you
I was
hear about
kinda-
people waiting in line 3 hours for barbecue.
Oh, that's
gets
what
around.
it is. And
Yeah.
so then they go, I gotta go find
Yeah, I
this.
gotta go check them out.
So Texas Monthly finds you.
Yes. So a guy does a review. Texas Monthly actually picks up his review. So he does a review in a small time barbecue
okay.
paper or something.
Got it,
And they're
got
like, they see it and they're like, okay, we're gonna put this online.
So then I guess when a producer of a Chopped show,
He's looking for a
he's
people
like,
in
oh, let
barbecue.
me just
Yeah,
scour
Texas.
the
Yeah.
internet, Texas. Oh,
Find
this-
Sloan Rinaldi. A couple
Okay.
of things. So Sloan, thank God my mom named me Sloan in 1963. And it means warrior. So it has served me well,
Nice.
right?
I would call you that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. So I'm sure my name kind of stood out. They were looking for a woman specifically, I'm sure, because at this point it's going to be a team competition, Texas versus other regions of barbecue in the country, Kansas City, Memphis, and I think North Carolina, which I didn't really realize was legit, region of barbecue, but apparently it is.
North Carolina. Yeah, in there.
They have their mustard. I guess that's their thing is mustard. I don't know, whatever. Or vinegar. They have the
well,
vinegar.
and it's distinct
Yeah.
like that too, right? I mean, Texas is kind of brisket.
Yeah.
and
No,
it
it's
is-
not. No, that's just the thing. Texas is not just brisket. Texas is everything.
Okay.
Okay. We do
and the
it
other
all.
states.
The others do pork.
The other states are like, what is it? Memphis for pork.
pork.
And,
No, they're all pork.
Oh,
That
they're all pork.
The rest of the country does pork.
is that right? Okay.
Texas does beef and pork.
Okay.
That's
So
the
that's a good distinctive line.
very distinctive line. And that means, like I said on the show, if you're not doing brisket, you're not doing barbecue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is the king of barbecue.
Yeah, I know. When it got to that episode with the brisket, I was like, "Oh man, this is awesome."
Yeah,
Sloan's
I
gonna
waited
kill
for
it.
that episode.
Exactly.
Let's go back to Chops. Chop
Yeah,
first. So I get
let's
on
finish that
Chopped.
story.
Okay,
Sorry.
at Food Network contacts me, and it's because of what they've obviously looked up. And I start working with their producers, all right? And we're going to do like I said, a barbecue competition series or show that's going to be a tournament based on other regional barbecues. By the time we end up in the studio in New York, it is a studio show inside. No pits. We have literally a stovetop, a boiling pot of water, and a freaking saute pan
Oh my
to
gosh!
do a barbecue
that
competition
you're supposed
show.
to do.
Oh my God. Okay.
Did they? Did you try to like raise your hand and
Oh
say,
my God.
hey,
All of
guys,
us were like, what
I bet
the-
y'all are like, hey guys,
Yes.
this is not really how we do
this isn't really cool, man. But what are you going to do? It's Food Network, it's Chopped, you're going to be on TV, so you're going to do it. And so right off, I get short ribs, mealy worms, Texas toast, and okra. Okay. Now, the producer had told me going in to have a plan. Like she said, I'm going to work all week, 80 hours a week. I know when I go home, I got kids, I'm going to make a pasta deal.
Sure.
All right, pasta meal. I don't know what kind of pasta I'm going to make pasta. She said, just have a plan, stick with your plan, work your plan. So my plan was a filet bruschetta, incredible bite, incredible filet, crostini, great like spicy garlic mayo with caramelized onion on top. It was just beautiful. Caramelized shallots, just wonderful bite. So when they give me that short rib, okra, mealy worm, and Texas toast, literally almost all the ingredients are right there for me to do that.
Yeah.
I could have been very creatively done. I could have.
But you're having to do it with a bull pot and a bunch of.
But I panicked. Literally, all of us. We looked at the short ribs and we were like, "What in the hell? These are 6-hour cook. Okay, we got 20 minutes.
Right.
20 freaking minutes. I choked. Okay, when I get out of there and I'm eliminating the first freaking round. Ultimately, all our meat was undercooked because you can't cook short ribs in freaking 20 minutes.
No, that's not even that's
it
not even barbecue in a bull pot.
It was
in
so
a New York
disappointing.
studio.
I was so heartbroken.
But like you said, you're on TV.
But on
so,
TV,
yeah,
man,
you
and look
gotta
what
go
it did for me later. So I leave there because I was eliminated because the coating on my okra did not stay on uniformly. Okay, the flavors were great, which I was all good with the critiques. All the flavors were great. That's all that means anything to me, you know. So X'd out. Literally, you walk out the door and you're out on the street in Manhattan. You know, it's like
funny.
You just walk out the door. And there's the street, no bottle of water, no nothing. You're gone.
Not
later.
Barbecue. Yeah.
So it was a great experience, and from that they promoted it for like a month before it aired, so that was great, and then it ends up being on the air, and you're one and done, you're out. People realize you choked and you're out in the first round, but that's okay. So I had to call my dad from Central Park and tell him I choked, but I learned from that. Okay, I learned that for me it has always worked to work your plan. You plan to be successful, and you will be successful. And I choked.
Well, and I thought you did. This was just my 2 cents on the show watching it. I think one of the reasons you kept advancing was you stayed with what you knew.
Oh, Barbecue Showdown?
Yeah,
I learned from my first experience.
And I'm a big fan of that in any part of life, especially as we get older. You and I was talking about that the other day when we were talking about business. It's just to relearn something is harder. So why not stay with what you know?
No.
So you chopped, and I guess the producers.
They get me out of there.
Is that how the producers on Netflix found you for this next round?
Well, actually, a lot happens in between then. So with the chop thing. My truck was stolen, and that's really a pivotal point. Is that my truck was stolen, the Texas Q black F-250 4x4, down at the Gallerias. I'm having lunch with a former Chicago Bear running back, and we come out, and he looks at me, looks down at me, he's like, "Where's your fucking truck?" Oh, no. I said, "Yeah, dude, where's my truck?" He punked me. Yeah, you took my truck, man. Yeah. No one steals your truck like that. We were sitting in a restaurant with a glass front. Yeah. Glass front.
Yeah.
But it's gone. So I get on Twitter immediately back then when it was Twitter and tweeted out to Courtney Zavala, an incredible anchor at the NBC affiliate, KPRC Channel 2. She has it on the news by 10 o'clock. That night, a record driver spots it after it airs in a ditch. And basically, I think kids heard me come off the freeway blasting Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. I had a huge system in the truck, which I like. Okay, I like a loud system. And because I always drove Jeeps too, and I liked it really loud. Yeah. So I figured they just heard it, right? And they took their shot. They gave up on trying to get the system out of the truck. Okay, it had a bank of subs behind the back seat, and they just gave up on that. Gave up on everything except taking the little head unit out. That's all they got out of it. $600 head unit.
But they found the truck.
Oh, God, yeah, they found it. And then they sprayed Armor all over everything. Got my truck back intact. Allstate, my cousin, like my brother, worked for Allstate forever, and they took such good care of me, and basically restored everything, put new leather seats in. It was great. So, but that experience has Courtney invite me to be on the Sunday Morning Today show in Houston a little bit later, and she said on air that my ribs were life-changing.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
nice.
You can't pay for that. Right?
No.
Very sincerely says it. And it was just a blast that day in the studio. It was just a blast. We had a wonderful time. So we leave there and go have breakfast at Avalon. And I walk in the door, I mean, literally just like 15 minutes later from when the episode went off the air and we were able to leave, and a woman stands up and points at me. And she says, I want those life-changing ribs. I'm like, you can have those life-changing
Yeah.
ribs, man.
No
I
problem.
got 'em, man.
I got what you need.
Yeah, TexasQ.com, please,
Yeah.
please. But this one thing led to another, and I felt that for me, I had always imagined myself being in media.
Okay.
Since I was a kid. Since 10 years old, I'd be in the
remember
bathroom.
you told me that before. I've forgotten that.
I would pretend that I would answer and ask questions as if I was Barbara Walters and then I was me, It's very bizarre.
And you had no idea why.
No, I had no idea why she would be interviewing me, but I knew ultimately it'd be for a reason.
What an interesting route.
Yeah, what an interesting route. It wasn't landscape that got me there.
Yeah.
But it was the moment though that I started barbecuing, I knew that was my avenue.
Sure.
I knew that I wanted to have a media career that was based on barbecue. This would get me. That would be the vessel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so then how did Netflix find you?
Oh, gosh. So food trailer, all that, so you work 10 years, building up a reputation, becoming credible, becoming relevant, all the first time invited to the Houston Barbecue Festival and Houston Barbecue Throwdown, right? After 10 years nearly. So those guys, J.C. Reed, who is the barbecue critic for the Houston Chronicle, okay, food critic. He runs the Houston Barbecue Festival. I had been wanting, and he'd been watching me and critiquing my food for years. When he came out to the food trailer, when we opened, he literally did a whole feature on us in the Zest section of the Chronicle, okay on the cover.
Okay.
And gave me credit for bringing craft barbecue to that part of Houston, okay? So then he invites me to the Throwdown, which the Throwdown is 14 of the best barbecue joints in Houston only.
Okay.
500 people are invited. They buy tickets, okay? $100 a piece, $100 a piece. They come in at St. Arnold's Brewery and eat your food.
Okay.
And then basically vote.
Got it.
There's a panel of judges as well. All I wanted was the People's Choice call, right? So that was my goal going in, and that's what we got. So once we got the People's Choice call, which I was ecstatic about, I could not believe it, and all those people like looking at me like, these are major joints in Texas. I'm the only one without a fucking joint. I'm in a trailer.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not in a brick and mortar, and so they had to, again, it's like the same thing at the first, competition where they had to then come over and they're like talking to you. They accept you then because you've proven yourself.
Right.
And that's the way it is, and I understand and respect that.
So then the show says, hey, this person knows.
Yeah.
You should put her on.
Oh my God. So producers at Netflix are like looking for a woman in barbecue in Texas, and my name, they said it was popped up over and over again.
Got it.
Okay, so they contact me, we started going through interview process.
It's an interview process.
It is an interview process.
Because they have a bunch of candidates.
There are 10,000 people that applied, but they came to me. I did not apply. They came looking.
Wow, I didn't realize there's that many when they do these sort of
10,000 people. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Oh my God. So they've gone through all these applications, people that think they can do barbecue, right?
Yeah.
But no, they came after myself and a few of us, and I think they came to me for a reason, specifically. They knew that I had a purpose for them. And it's been an incredible experience.
So
Absolutely.
what's it like being on one of them shows? I've
I've dreamed of it my whole life.
Well, there's so many reality shows, and I guess I wonder, is the stuff scripted? Is everything?
It's not scripted.
Or is it pretty much
it is not scripted.
So what we're seeing is
what you see, the interactions, everything that's happening, it's all real. Okay. The only benefit that we get is that we'll know before we even get there, really, there's an outline of what we think the competitions are going to be for each episode. Okay. And we know a timeline that we should have. A lot of this...
They get a little bit of chance to think, but not
they
really.
always change things up so that we're not that comfortable. Like, they may take an hour
because
away.
Y'all couldn't have acted some of that when I saw this.
Oh, no, man. It's all legit. It is panic.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't panic.
No.
Really, I don't. I think there's very few times... I'm just not that panic person. But they do. They're running around. They're panicking.
Panic is probably the wrong word, but I mean,
I saw full-on panic.
Oh,
there was a
heck,
few times that I'm like... I said out loud I was panic-stricken. And but the fact is that for me it's a lot easier.
Well,
to
I
manage
thought it was
those moments.
ironic how you're like, oh, I don't even drink beer, and then you win that one.
I know.
And
I think one of the worst things I said
fast
was
food. I don't even eat fast food, and I won that one too. That round or whatever.
Oh my God, I know it was just really incredible. I think that they had picked each individual person for a reason. Everyone was there for a purpose. They did something differently. They were a different type of personality.
To keep some variety.
Yes, absolutely, and that America could identify with someone. whomever it was, everyone
that's a good
to
point.
identify with
Because
someone.
there was a lot of cross.
Yeah, there was just, someone to
of-
represent every different type of personality or barbecue experience and that sort of thing. In different cultures, I thought that was incredible. So getting there, I immediately went into this imposter syndrome feeling. And I was constantly saying to my Mike, I can't fucking believe this, man. Like, it's like Kareem, traveled from Egypt, Cairo, literally to do brisket. Only.
He seemed like to have some interesting flavors and all
love
of this
him.
stuff.
I love him.
He had all kind of weird
beautiful stuff.
It was
beautiful.
Was like wonderful looking
but
stuff.
I tell you, they kept telling me to back off the garlic, and he would just double down like, fuck you. This garlic is what we do. I'm going to give you more garlic. You'll eventually love it. But they did not, But his flavors, I thought, I'm not a Mediterranean or Egyptian type, connoisseur of that culinary, cuisine, but it was beautiful on the plate. It was beautiful on the plate. And unfortunately, we didn't really get an opportunity to taste each other's food because it was just so fast-paced. We had so much going on. You'd spend 5 hours on that comp and then another 5 hours going through the filming process of, the table and all the judging process. That's another 5 hours. So we're doing 18-hour days for almost a month.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how long you were on set.
Yeah, Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, for me, for some shorter, but there's always the exit interview process. So if someone was eliminated and they were still there for another day or two to get the interviews in and then they were gone. But I was there for all 8 episodes and then so extending from that. So in between each episode, there's reset days.
So I know, what about funny stories or any of that? I mean, I know you got close with a lot of those people. You said you kind of
We became family. We were on a thread text still. I think that the moment we met, from Cowboy Kent to, he has 1 million followers on Instagram, Cowboy Kent. Oh my God. He is the quintessential cowboy chuck wagon cook, right?
Right.
So there's him. And I think I was the only one that wasn't familiar with Kent though, because that's not really my style. I wasn't that familiar with him.
Yeah.
But now I am for sure.
Sure.
So there's him, and there's this girl from Kentucky, and someone from Nashville, and it just we immediately bonded. One, you're the only people that are ever going to go through that experience. And know what it's like to film a reality show centered around barbecue, and it's not in a studio per se. You're out in the elements for the most part. Our barn is wide open. It's freezing cold. The pits are outside. Everything's in the elements. And the only thing we were blessed with, we had no rain. So that was great. So funny story wise, a couple of things that episode number 2, the beer episode. No, I do not drink beer. Oh my God. I don't drink, period. It doesn't taste right to me. So picking that beer, I was like panicked. Rod, that was the moment. I was panicked about beer and I was kind of panicked about the fast food challenge. But when I saw that red packaging, and that will forever stick with me, that packaging sells, man. When I saw that, it was just a beautiful box. I'm like, that'll work for me. And it did. It just like the flavors, the notes in it were just mild enough for me to be able to work with it in every element that I wanted to do. So, and Tuffy Stone, oh my God, the icon, one of the calling professor, in barbecue, and that's for a reason. He's so, well-spoken and so knowledgeable, and such a soft-spoken guy too, So just one of those guys that kind of sits back and he's thinking about, your food and what is he going to say? What is he going to say? But I found out later that he really did like my food. I was very happy about that.
Well, I think they all did. That was genuine,
Now, I took the things that they said about my food, for them to be able to say it was, that I smoked the best protein they'd ever had on the series, I set a challenge record. I've won more challenges than anyone in the series history.
A bunch of them back to back.
I either won it or I was in second. Came up second. Yeah. So I was never in the bottom. Not even close. I didn't even have a whiff of the bottom, So, and that's another thing. It's been a public outcry about that. And they warned me, that people would, there would be a public outcry, but it's the forums around the country. And even people will send me a message and say, are you aware of all the forums around the country? They say that you were robbed, It's like, it's all good. We were all hired for a reason. We were all paid for a reason. I'm proud of everything we did.
Generating.
I'm proud of what we did.
Viewership and
Absolutely.
things like that.
Absolutely.
Well, this show is about, entrepreneurs, and every good entrepreneur and business owner I know has a story. And we've talked about the successes, but they also usually have a rocky, hard road up to that,
Every
and I know
story
you've
does.
had some of that too, if you don't mind sharing some of that.
No, man.
And what do you think got you through that? Because, like I said, most owners and business builders have those stories.
Sure. I don't know any that don't. I've never met a successful person that didn't fall and, fell at some time.
Totally agree.
And I don't believe in failure. Those are experiences. They're strictly experiences. And they stay experiences until you do not get up. Then you are at failure, So aside from that, man, it's just learning. and it's all learning, and I appreciate that very much so. I believe that you are in a never-ending pursuit of your life stream, right? So along those lines and along that way, you're going to travel down the wrong path. You're going to meet the wrong person. You may say the wrong thing. You may do the wrong thing, whatever. And those will be learning experiences. So you learn from them and you move on. And you don't repeat. Not repeating the same mistake is the most success you can really attain.
Because you overcame a lot.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
A lot to get to where
you're
at.
I came from a very, very abused childhood, very horrific abused as a child in every way that you can abuse a child, left and abandoned, and just, it was horrific, horrific. But I think God took care of me in a very special way. The thing that God gave me, the gift that I treasure most is my mind. Okay, my mind saved me. So I was able to disassociate from that childhood while I was in it. My life was in danger constantly, 24 hours a day. So a constant state of fear and panic. That I would disassociate. So in my mind, I was who I am now. Okay,
so you could just separate. It's interesting you say that. I've always thought that a lot of good entrepreneurs are good dreamers.
Sure,
and people sometimes early say,
"I don't know anything aren't dreamers,"
but you build these fantasies that become dreams that become reality. And I think,
where do you start if not?
Without that, where are you going to start? Some book somewhere that just
No.
So.
No, so it all starts with what you see you can be.
Sure.
And for me, that saved me.
Yeah.
So I'm self-educated. At 17, I got dropped off at the side of the highway on I-10 in Beaumont, Texas, with a suitcase, because I was gay, So my mom drops me off there. My mom was horribly, she was not only schizophrenic, she had multiple personality disorder, bipolar, horrible drug addict, and alcoholic,
Yeah.
She had tried to kill her first person at 6, let's put it that way. So she was not meant to have children,
Sure.
But anyways, that's in the 40s, what are you going to do? But anyway, so for me, I knew that there was a better life for me. I was not going to be the victim of my circumstances. It wasn't my fault,
Right.
I was not my circumstance. In my mind, God gave me that,
And that's kind of the exception I see a lot to the rule. I see a lot of people just, you either go down that rabbit hole and become what you came from, or you decide, I don't want no part of it. And
no, I think my brother and myself, God blessed us in the same way.
Same
yeah,
way.
I like to say he's the better version of me.
And I'm not going to quit. And all
no,
that.
I say he's the better version of me, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. So what's the next steps for, obviously Texas Q, and we're going to talk about how they find you here in a minute and all that, but what's your aspirations?
Oh, they're grand.
I know. Well, that's okay.
They're grand.
And that's where it all starts, with the fantasies and the dreams. So what are our next steps for
I'm
Texas?
closer to pursuing, achieving, I'm achieving my life's dreams now every day. It seems like dreams are coming true every day. But I feel that I'm in a position to really secure and achieve my life's true ambition and dream, right? So going down that road, there's several things that I want to do. Dropping the companion book to Barbecue Showdown is just the first step in monetizing and capitalizing on the experience, the exposure.
Yeah.
And it's all been a very detailed process to get here. I knew I had to be good at barbecue, so I got good at barbecue. I knew I needed media exposure.
And that was, it's worth diving into. That was not an overnight, and until you've sweated in that trailer with that cooked brisket wrong a bunch of times.
No.
You can't really,
have the power go out overnight in your warmer.
Or be believable or genuine when you say,
I'm good.
I go back to your, it just makes me cringe thinking about the chop show thing and the whole boil some cook,
Oh my God. I literally put ribs in boiling water to expedite the cooking process. Then took them out of the boiling water, put rub on them, and put them on a hot pan.
Well, I guess I was encouraged to hear that the Netflix one you're just on that's just so good that everyone needs to go watch is it was legitimate cooking.
It's real barbecue.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There
oh
wasn't
my God, thank
staged.
God. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Because it looked pretty cool. They had the kitchen there, and they had all the different stuff.
To me, it's the best show in food.
Yeah.
really, because it, especially in barbecue related shows, but
Did they do
overall,
other things besides barbecue on that show?
not on that show. No,
I
we,
didn't think-
we infuse things, but it's strictly barbecue.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting to tell you how big it is.
Oh man, I
You know?
practiced for every scenario too. I dug a pit in the ground. I
Did you?
cooked fish
Oh,
underground.
so you practiced.
I knew what I was. Yeah, I
Did you
wasn't
really?
anything that was going to come
Interesting.
up that I would not be a proficient at. You know, like I said, if I'm going to do, I'm going
And
to.
I read,
be
if I'm
best at
wrong,
it.
didn't barbecue start in the Caribbean? I think that
Yeah,
was
you may
original.
be a little. I don't know about that. Texas for me is where barbecue starts, and that's the Germans coming
Well,
over.
you think about on the range they were cooking on the
And-
range, meat on the
but
range.
it's really it
way
goes back to
there.
slaves. It goes back to black folks created all good food. Bottom line.
A lot of music too.
Yeah, music, food, all good things in this country that are cultural and that are authentic and have deep complexity
Correct.
have originated with slaves. Unfortunately, black folks, and not unfortunately black folks, but unfortunately it started in slavery of what they had to work with.
What they had to work
Yeah.
with.
So they created the most amazing food and flavors that have lived on, obviously, for centuries, and that we're all still trying to perfect and achieve that level of just
Well, and it goes
incredible
back
flavor.
to you start thinking there was fire. And
Yeah,
then there
there was
was
fire.
probably meat on
Yeah,
top
who
of
put
fire.
that? Yeah, they had to
You
put
know,
something on it.
That probably was pretty darn
We
quick.
just sit here and look at it.
Yeah, you go like, how far back is that? Probably when
That's
they hacked
Stone
the
Age,
first
man.
leg
They
off
were
of
literally the live fire originals.
whenever
so-
they bended fire. Probably wasn't too long. There
No,
was
you
some
couldn't
meat
eat
on
without
top
fire.
of it.
So let's start right
And there
there.
was probably a piece of meat on it
yeah,
pretty soon
it wasn't,
after
I
that.
don't think it was a zucchini. They weren't grilling
Nah, it
vegetables.
might have been a mammoth or whatever they could chase down without getting chased down themselves.
A whole leg, man. A whole leg
Exactly.
on the fire. No,
Exactly.
but so bottom line is that life starts with fire.
Yeah.
That's
for
a big
sure.
part of my life.
Well, obviously, when we get into how can people find you, I mean, watch the show. It's a
Yes.
great show, guys. But also TexasQ.com, probably the best way to.
Yeah, for sure. Everything
Because
leads from there.
you've got a line of sauce, you've got
We
cookbooks.
got merchandise, t-shirts, caps, beanies. There's a lot more to it. So we really want to. We're gonna have signature pits. We're working on a deal right now with M&M Barbecue that are, for me, this is the greatest, biggest barbecue associated partnership in my life. Best thing that's happened to me in barbecue. I mean, bigger than Barbecue Showdown, bigger than being on Chopped and all that is my this collaboration that we're working on with M&M right now.
Yeah.
They are going global. They're all over the world. They're shipping their huge, incredible pits to Europe. That's where I want to be next. They're going outside of Texas. They're in West Coast, East Coast. They're up north. They're in places that no one else is going. They're building pits from Texas. And not only are they from Texas building pits, but they are building the best fabricated pits I've ever seen.
Okay. You should know. You've been behind one a lot of hours.
Yes. Well, and they also built the entire set at Barbecue Showdown. They did.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called The Trench.
Well, and I thought that was cool. The maybe it's all over the place. I'm just naive, but where it had all the different hanging and the
no, that's their.
adjustable.
It's called the Fire Table. They built that.
That
They
was
built
pretty
that
cool because
specifically.
I looked at that and I thought, my
No,
goodness,
you go back to
could cook
season
anything.
2 and you look at their season 2 trench, and it was just like a bunch of little rebar.
I mean, this thing had hooks and
No.
adjustable things
Oh my
and
God.
a flat plate over the
No.
top.
When
I'm
I got
like,
to the set and they finally let us go over to the trench, they kept telling us, just don't look that way. So we, I'm a rule follower, so I wouldn't look that way.
Right,
But when they let us go to the trench, man, and as soon as I get close enough, you see that M&M brand. I'm like, these guys are the baddest mofos in Texas. And they have got the most cool, the fire tables are all set up everywhere.
Yeah.
The big wood burners for charcoal, to burn your wood down. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I look around and Cowboy Kent is over in the freaking, in the sand. I'm like, dude,
I know.
get up off the
It's
ground.
funny you said that. I was watching that with my wife Tiffany, and we were going, and I said, I wonder why that guy's not using that cool table.
He cooked every single challenge that he was there for in the dirt. On
Well,
a little,
I mean, I assume there's something to be said for doing something. I mean, I felt like some of those people got ahead of themselves by trying to do too much
constantly from day one. That was the biggest lesson I listened.
And that was what I thought you were just excelling at because you knew what you did well. But it wasn't that it was a one-trick pony.
No.
It was just stuff that you did well.
No, I think I pride myself on listening to instruction, right?
Yeah.
And what people are asking of me.
Sure.
Okay. And I like to deliver, so I want to be the best at it.
Right.
So I want to make sure I'm listening to what you're telling me to do, and I'm going to be the best at doing it. Okay. Right. So number one, it starts with that. So I paid attention, and the critique or the instruction over and over again was less is more. Okay.
Sure.
They gave us.
There's so many things.
They told us exactly what to do. How many proteins, how many sides, if you need a dessert, okay, they put it on there. If you did not, if a dessert was not
So
required,
then
it's not on there.
Then why
the
make
fuck are you putting a dessert on there that can cost you?
It's funny. I saw that one of those challenges. I saw they were like making
adding all kind of
it was
shit.
making
I'm
this
like,
hard
what the
dessert, and I
fuck?
was going, man.
Literally,
they didn't even say
first
nothing.
time in competition history on a TV show, I would have 30 minutes to an hour to walk around and look at what the fuck they were doing.
That's
and they're
interesting.
running around crazy the entire time.
Because they had too many dishes.
Exactly. And I would walk over and I'd look at it. I'm like, well, I wonder if I'm an
I don't know
underachiever.
anything about cooking. I'd be like, that's just a
No,
process
I
of
started thinking,
elimination
maybe,
there.
No,
you
really,
know?
the words, maybe I'm an underachiever came out. And I'm like, no, I'm just doing exactly what they asked for, right? So, and it paid off for me. It worked. What I did created really good flavors.
Sure,
So I didn't stretch it out to having one good thing here and nothing else good. All my shit came together and it was perfect, right?
Yeah,
so that's what garnered me, win after win for sure.
Perfect.
Or put me in the top every time.
Every time. Yeah. Well, great. Well, folks, go to TexasQ.com.
TexasQ.com. It leads to our IG, our Facebook.
There's all kind of cool
There's
stuff
a
to
barbecue page that I created for women on Facebook called Barbecue Queens.
Okay.
No, Smoke Queens.
Nice.
Yes, Smoke Queens. Okay, women of barbecue.
Okay.
On Facebook.
That's cool.
That's great for women. A lot of the best pitmasters in the country, female pitmasters, are on that page to give advice or tips or whatever.
Right.
So that's there. And then, TexasQ.com. And I'll be hosting the Houston Live show, co-hosting on August 29th.
Are you? Okay,
here in Houston,
wonderful.
NBC local. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Channel 2.
Cool.
So, absolutely.
Well, tune in, buy everything you can from this lady.
We got great
she's
sauce.
awesome.
We create
You
great
got
sauces.
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'll get the brisket from you every year for different family gatherings, and people are always like, "You cook?" I say, "Hell no, I didn't cook it. I go to the expert."
There you go.
Why
Thank you.
waste time,
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. We got
so.
some good food. We got good sauces, good products. We'll have a lot more coming in the future. I was going to allude to that, is that we are monetizing, a lot of things on the business end. That's what you need to do when you get into a position like this.
Sure.
So we're going to have cutting boards and utensils, pits. As I said, we're working with barbecue, M&M Barbecue. We're going to create some really amazing live fire apparatus and pits. Signature accessories, whether it be fire pokers or whatever that goes.
And
with
these are
barbecue.
vetted by the pitmaster herself.
Yes, I'm going to collaborate with them. We're going to create this together.
You're not. This isn't just some
No, it won't be
stick a
just
name
something
on
that
it
not
like
this,
you,
not at all, man. I'll be going to work with these guys,
and you're going to say this is. As you are with the pitch. You're gonna say, hey,
we're going to spend 3
good...
days together here pretty soon, where we're just going to cook together and look at different equipment and works best, and maybe gear it specifically towards women. But I'm not married to that. But we'll see.
I just think it's cool to bring that in.
Yeah.
I mean, back to some of the things you've overcome.
Make things more easier. Maybe for women that want to be on the pit. The thing that I'm hearing over and over again from women is that they're inspired to do this, and I think that if that's the case, we want to make sure they have equipment that they can use easily.
Well, and you think about women are such, historically so many good cooks and so many different things. Better cooks, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it was always like, the fire cooking is dominated to the man. That's not the case anymore.
Women, I think, make the better pitmaster overall in barbecue. Is that we can master the sides, and then if we're mastering the meat as well, we're going to be the best.
And
pitmaster.
a different technique to it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like piloting.
Refined technique.
Being women pilots are really good. Yeah, and people don't.
Women are the best. I'm sorry, but we are the best at everything. We are so detail oriented, and we do want to be the best at it. And we feel driven to, because it is a male dominated industry usually.
Correct.
So you're going to find that a woman will work harder. No one will outwork her. No one will outwork me. And that she will give you everything she's got every day. She's going to do the best job she can possibly do.
Right.
That's just what's in her.
Sure.
So women, hire more women, people.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Thanks so much for being here,
Thank
Sloan.
you, Gary. You guys are awesome. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. See ya. For additional tips on value and exiting your business to your next life, be sure to go to NextLifePodcast.com.